The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. What's up, Governor? We're back from our travels. I'm sorry I was away from the program as much as I was, but I had a little bit of a medical problem. They had to use some baling wire and some duct tape to put me back together, but I'm doing pretty good now. And right after I had that fixed, we'd had a trip planned to Europe that we do every year, and we had to leave, of course, to do that. That was on the 22nd, so we're back, and all the travels are done until late fall. But it was really a lot of fun. I'm going to do a whole show on my trip to Europe because I literally had my mind blown away, which in my case doesn't take a whole lot. But I've been studying these markets and sacred geometry and metaphysical stuff for a long time. But one of my students that I met about 9 years ago. Actually was from Babylon, where the Tigris and Euphrates, brings in our civilization. And he has been studying a thing called gematria, which is the alphanumeric code that you find in many of the ancient religions. And how he related these numbers to me was just absolutely mind-blowing, starting with the Bible, going through the 37 books of the Old Testament, the 29 books of the New Testament, the Tohar, which are the 5 books of Moses, the I Ching, the Bhagavad Gita, the Talmud, which is things right out of Babylon, and the Zohar, which is the Jewish from the 12th century, and then also the Kabbalah. All of these things are interrelated, and he started it, of course, with Pythagoras, and what Pythagoras taught basically was the 3 disciplines that he thought were very important, which was arithmetica, which was arithmetic, musica, which was the study of music, and of course astronomica, which was the geometry and the astro part of this. But the numbers and things were just absolutely mind-blowing. Just to give you an example, folks, have you ever stopped to think why we have 24 hours? Well, you would think that since we have 24 time zones in the world, we have actually 27, but the 3 minor ones are 45-minute time zones, but we have 24 basic time zones. But if you multiply 24 hours a day times 60 minutes in an hour times 60 seconds in a minute, you come out with the number of 8640, which is the circumference of the sun. And this is what it was all about. And it was one after another. I mean, this was 3 days, folks. And it was the most amazing presentation. I've seen some of it before because I've been there several times over the years. And but this time it was really, it literally threw me off. Well, it didn't throw me off guard, but it opened my mind to so many things. The 2 things that made me feel the most comfortable was the fact that I use these Fibonacci numbers in trading, and it all goes back to that big library in the sky, which happens to be in Giza, the pyramids, and the fact that they set on the celestial equator where Earth, north, south, east, and west come together, and the height of the pyramid divided by the base is 0.618. And if you take the hypotenuse of it, and if you look at the pyramids, it's an octagon. It's not it's not 4-sided. It's 8-sided, and the slope of that side, the hypotenuse, is 1.6181818. You divide that, you take the square root of that. That comes up to 1.27. And then you just start seeing these numbers over and over again. One thing that I always questioned, reading the Bible, being trained by the Jesuits for 14 years, was when you read the Bible, they talked about Noah and how Noah had the animals come on the ark and stuff like that. I said, he was in the water for 377 days. How did they feed those animals? because you're talking about elephants, giraffes, monkeys, gorillas, swans, everything else. I mean, how did he feed those things? Because the Ark, and this is where it really became. I hope you enjoy this, because I really enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to be able to do more of it as I understand more. But if you realize the Ark was 300 cubits long by 50 cubits wide and 30 cubits high, and a cubit is basically from the tip of your finger to your elbow. It started at 52.63 cubits with the Egyptians, and then of course the Hebrews changed it to 17 cubits. But roughly it's around 21 inches is basically what you're looking at. And so what that means is that the Ark was about the size of 3 rail cars, end to end. And how did they feed? Where did they get the food for those animals for 377 days? And why did the Bible say exactly 377 days? It's just amazing. If you take these numbers, like he showed me, and apply them to what really is there right in front of us, you'll really open your eyes. It's an amazing thing to see. Now, whether all these numbers are just a coincidence or not, which I certainly don't think that they are, but it was just totally amazing how so much of this comes together. He had studied had done a lot of the work of John Michel, who had wrote the famous book, The Dimensions of Paradise. And, of course, Michel died in London in 2009 and had a great deal of information. And it's just really amazing, and I'd like to do some of this a little bit later. But that was only part of the trip. And then also we started the trip. We went to London, and then we went directly to Copenhagen, where we met about 25 of our students and gave a little presentation. They wanted to know basically nothing about trading or anything. It was just about, my life and the studies and the people that I had met, and spent a little time with, my time with Amos Hofstadter, which was a small amount, but my best friend Jay spent years with him. So it was that part was very interesting. But the most important part of the trip for Sarah and I is when 4 people came up after the seminar in Copenhagen and asked to have our pictures taken and to tell us that how much we had changed their lives, that they were able to, to make a living trading, and how much they were enjoying it and actually giving back, which was another thing that really made me feel pretty good. Only 4, but to me that was a good thing. We had a couple other in London, but those ones that we saw in Copenhagen was great. And Copenhagen is an absolutely beautiful city, as is London. But London real estate is just as expensive as what we have in Hong Kong. So that was the London part of the trip. And then I was able to go to the south of London, to Bournemouth, and visit my good friend Tom Hugard, who literally knocked my socks off again by his success. And it was really a fun trip to do. We'll get back to these markets when we come back from the break. We've got a lot of good things happening, and we'll have some good dates here coming in the future that I think we'll be able to use. And so it's been a fun trip. But, boy, I tell you, as you get to be older, boy, going to these airports is not nearly as much fun as it used to be. But we still got back okay, and everything's good. And glad to be back at TFNN. I understand you had a couple of instances of fun stuff, but we'll look at it just a little bit. We'll get back to the market. 877-927-6648.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Larry takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Okay, we're back, folks, and we'll start with the markets a little bit. I posted the chart of the DAX index. As you can see, we've been in a really tight trading range, much as we have been in the E-mini S&P. We have not reached the top yet because the market has no signs of topping, even though we've made new highs in the NASDAQ. Of course, we have not made any new highs yet in the S&P on a substantial basis. But if you notice here, the chart that I'm going to bring up here of the NASDAQ composite, that we did go above the 1.27 level, but we are certainly in the zone where we're going to be able to see something really exciting. Now, if you remember, we've had Bill Meridian from Cycles Research out of Vienna, Austria on the show several times, and hopefully we'll have Bill on early next week. But one thing that he talked to us about was the importance of this August time frame, especially how it relates to the horoscope chart of, Donald Trump. So we want to watch that. And if later on, if we get to some of these numbers that we had in the Bible and some of the other major religious books, it talks about this period that we're going to be looking at in August, sometime around between the 13th and 18th of August this year. There should be something really dramatic happening, and it will unfold in the financial markets along with other things too. But whether that happens or not, this is something that's out into the future that we want to, keep an eye on, but it might give us a chance, to take a look at, something that is, very, very important to us all. So that's basically where we are in the market. The full moons and new moons have not produced anything over the past two cycles. That doesn't mean that it's not working. It just means that it stopped working, and so we need to watch it the next time it comes up here in 8 more days when we have the full moon coming in, one more time. So those are some of the things that we want to be looking. I want to share something with you that my friend from the UK has in his office that is really something very, very spectacular. It is a picture of some swords from Persia. These were the kind that they used in battle many, many years ago. It's inlaid with the gold and silver. This happens to be a replica. They have some of these in the British Museum in the UK. If you ever get a chance to go look at them, they're pretty much priceless, but they're really incredible. These are from around the 10th century AD, and of course that was a very critical time right before the Dark Ages. But these are some of the weapons of history that are very, very interesting to look at. Anyway, get back to the markets. Anyway, we will watch some of these things a little bit closer, folks. There's one that really needs to be on your radar, folks, because it affects just about everything. Let me get this up here so we can take a quick look at it. That happens to be here with this U.S. dollar. Now, if you take a look at this U.S. dollar index, you'll notice that overlaid on top of it is the green line, which is the S&P 500 index. If you notice over these past few weeks here, starting back it's actually several months now because it's a weekly chart. Starting in January, we started to see a divergence. And now we are setting almost exactly at this 61% retracement at this 96.50, 96.60 level in the dollar index. Now, this equates very closely to the level of 112.50 in the euro that we talked about the last time I was on the air, which I think was when Moses was coming down the Nile in his little basket. But this is very important. This is a 61% retracement of last year's low in January. And not only that, we've been coming down for about 5 months. That's about the most you're going to get as a correction in the bear market. If you look at the correction during 2016, we went down from October into early March, another 5 or 6 month correction. So you're seeing things repeat over and over again. And here is another principle that I learned when I studied with my friend, and that is that these harmonic numbers that we talk about is another way of saying, there is nothing new under the sun, that it says in the Bible. As above, so below. And these are all things that eventually, stick in your mind. But when you see the numbers come up and how they repeat, in all the religious books, it's really a phenomenal thing, because many of these books are written in parables. In other words, what they're saying is really a story, and it's all related to numbers. And that's the whole key to looking at these things. And it's just really amazing to see how some of these things really fit together. But if there was one thing that I had to put on my radar today, it would be the fact that this dollar index is such a really, really important, really important spot. That's neither here nor there. Now, I've had a couple of questions. I'm not going to be able to answer all of them because I've been gone too long, but there was one question that was repeated over and over again by 3 or 4 of the folks that emailed me, and that is in the chart of Amazon, the fact that it hit $1,000 a share. All I did was go back over the last 3 or 4 months and draw the patterns in that I could see happening. And as you can see, we did make a really nice ABCD pattern there, exactly at $1,000 per share. Whether that's going to be a high or not. I mean, when you're talking about $1,000 per share, 1% is $10. So, it could easily go to 1,010, 1,020, 1,030 and still be making, some type, of a major top. But we haven't had much of a correction. The only correction we had was way back in April, when we came down from 935 down to the 885 level. We dropped 5%. And since that time, we've just been going, higher and higher. But Amazon was the first stock of the triple-digit dudes, which Google was the next one, to make the $1,000 level. Whether Google will make it or not, we will have to wait and see. Another question that we had was the fact that we had a situation where we had a lot of news about Tesla, and it was really an amazing thing to see what's going on with Tesla, the fact that it's had this much movement. But basically, the Tesla is not it's more of a battery company than it is an auto company. You don't see many Teslas in the United Kingdom, or you see very few in Denmark, but in the UK you don't see hardly any. In Hong Kong you see Teslas everywhere, And the reason for that is when Teslas came out, being a hybrid car, not using too much gasoline, they forego the tax. In other words, if you buy a new car in Hong Kong, if you buy a Mercedes, it's a $100,000 Mercedes, you pay $200,000 for it because there's 100% tax on the car. Well, with Tesla, there was no tax. That was up until January of 2017 when they went back to the old standard. So if you buy a Tesla now, you have to pay the 100% tax. So for those 3 or 4 years, I don't know how many years they've been coming out, but for those years, you were basically buying a car at a 50% discount, and a lot of people took advantage of them. Of course, there's a lot of Teslas over there who'll be able to see that, and we'll see what's going on. Okay, Amazon, I guess, is trading, $9.75 now? I don't even know where it is trading. And some of these things, I don't even have updates on my data as of yet. And we'll see if that's going to be the case. So we'll watch this market as we go. 877-927-6648.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters. In quiet markets, investors search for new trading opportunities. We'd like to introduce you to a new product that provides opportunities even in flat markets. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a new and innovative Chicago-based exchange registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their trading platform. Nadex never charges a fee to use their platform, which even includes real-time charts and full customization capability. Nadex's unique short-term binary options allow traders and investors to capitalize on strategies even when the underlying markets are quiet. Nadex's innovation has allowed them to come up with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com, or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, we're back, and I wanted to talk just a little bit about volatility. As you can see from these stock indices, volatility has basically dissipated. My feeling is it's a respite to starting to see something of some major volatility coming into these markets. Quiet markets are there for a reason. We've noticed that during this last run-up, the open interest has not been increasing in some of these stock index futures, which is usually a bad sign. But neither here nor there. We'll have to see whether there's something going to be really dramatic coming in here at this particular time. But as we mentioned earlier, there's been very little movement in the full moons and new moon scenarios that we usually get. And that doesn't mean that it's not working. It just means that it's stopped working. It'll get back together because over a long period of time, those 14-day cycles that are in the market, will be quite heavy. If you remember, we had Stan Harley on the air way back in early May, and we were talking about the fact that this June 7th to June 8th period is a very good time frame, to watch for a potential turn in the market from a timing and Fibonacci standpoint. And we will have Stan on again very, very soon. I've got to get several of these folks back in the habit of being on the air, like Norm Winsky from Astro Trends and Bill Meridian, and of course, William, who's been able to nail this market really in a spectacular fashion using some of these Astro things that he has. And I was thinking of him while I was in London, listening to the presentation, and how I wish he could sit with me during this time to see how these things are so much related to the Astro and also the pyramids and how it all sort of fits together. And believe me, I have, it's so far above my pay grade, all I could see was glimpses. And the glimpse was, of course, enough to, give me confidence to, not that I needed another boost, but it was really amazing to see how these numbers just keep repeating over and over again. They're right there in front of you, and unless you're really prepared to, ready to look at them, it's just really mind blowing. Is what it was, folks. Those of you, I remember I used to be in Pismo Beach, California, and before that I was in Los Angeles. And back in the days, back in the 70s, I would go up into the in the Manly Halls area, up in the Philosophical Institute, because they had some good books on some of the numbers of the Bible that Twentyman was interested in. But it wasn't until 1992 that I went down to the Philosophical Institute up on Mulholland Drive, not too far from Mike Milken's house, and that's where the Manly Hall, library and everything is. And if you ever want to see movie stars, folks, don't go to Hollywood. Go up to that Philosophical Institute, and I can almost guarantee you that you're just there by the door going to the coffee shop, and you'll see some movie stars there. It could be Warren Beatty, Shirley MacLaine, Linda Evans. I mean, they're there all the time, and so it's a really good place. It's great place for looking at things. But when Manly Hall was still alive back in the early 90s, I went down there to hear him speak, and I bought his book, The Secret Teachings of All the Ages. It came in three ways. It came as a pocket or a paperback, which was quite large, 11 by 18, and then it came in a color one, which was 36 by 12, and that was $200. And then he had a leather-bound edition of the color one, and I bought that one and had him sign it, and it was beautiful glove leather. And I should have bought 3 or 4 of them, but I paid $600 for it. And I saw them on eBay about a year ago. They were selling for about $1,300. But it's a real masterpiece. And Manly Hall spent his life, studying the type of things that I was seeing coming from my friends, in the UK. So it sort of enlightened me of what I had looked at. But believe me, it's just like I mentioned, way over my pay grade. I'm going to try to put it together in a little bit of a small package and maybe do a program for TFNN so you folks can get an idea and have some slides if I can get permission to use some of these slides, because I think you'd really get a really good idea of where some of these things came from and how they evolved, over a period of thousands of years. It's just truly an amazing thing that it was just a lot of fun. Sarah was mumbling to herself because she says, wow, I had no idea this stuff existed. And I said, well, I didn't either, and I've been looking at it for years, so we'll watch it anyway. Now, this is not most of that stuff was not anything to do with the market, but the number sequence of the cycles certainly are, because there's nothing new under the sun. And these cycles repeat over and over again, but they repeat with a repetition that is not, perfectly symmetrical, because it expands and contracts, and that's what makes it different. But the fact that it has so much to do with the astroharmonics, that is just, that part is absolutely truly amazing, and it's based basically on the sun and the Earth and Venus. Those are the three starting points to use, and then you go from that, you go into other things. But we've always watched that Venus-Mercury and also the Venus-Sun and, of course, Earth-Sun. So all of those things are, putting it together. But, like I mentioned, these are just guidelines. Basically, I'm still looking at the patterns. That's what I'm trying to look at and trying to see, what volatility is there. And those are the main things that I'm looking at. Getting on to the markets, first of all, we had a pretty good drop in crude oil from that $52 a barrel level, which was a 61% retracement. We've now broken down below the 61% retracement of that level. To me, it looks like oil is heading back at least to 47 and possibly even 38, because if we break below those old lows at the 42 level, that sets us up for an ABCD structure that would be down at the $37 per barrel level. So that's also a possibility. Regarding gold, gold has held up not relatively well, but incredibly well. Silver, not so much, and platinum, of course, following the path of the other two precious metals. But it is holding up incredibly well. We're trading at 1266. The old high we were looking at was around the 1285. So we've had these lower highs from 1295, 1285, 1280, or 1275. So we're still sloping into a downturn. But the fact that it doesn't break very much is a tribute to the gold market. The last sell-off that we had, stopped exactly at the 382 retracement, and that was one of the things that, we thought that had some possibility of jabbing up one more time. We need gold to get above $1,300, and if we do that, then you're going to be looking at something that's got legs, and that will be the thing that will have to happen in the future. And I don't think it's going to be today because it's $34 away. But we need gold to get above that $1,300 per ounce level, and that would take us up to a much, much higher level as we look at prices into the future. Silver is still lagging, but it's actually came back and was able to get above that the troubled level at $17 an ounce, and it still looks like it has some more legs to go to the upside.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN has put together the finest live programming lineup each trading day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected financial minds in the nation to educate traders and investors. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we broadcast 9 hours a day starting at 8 a.m. as John Logan kicks us off each trading day with the Global Market Pulse. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we broadcast 11 hours. Get an early and healthy start to your day as Nico and Paige bring you Living a Primal Lifestyle. Then catch Andy Hecht at 5 p.m. with the Commodities Hour. following The Tom O'Brien Show. Mondays and Fridays. Catch live trading on the Nadex platform with hosts Tom and Tommy O'Brien, along with Daryl Martin on the Bull Bear Binary Option Hour. See the TFNN program lineup via the link on the front page of TFNN.com to get a complete overview of our TFNN shows and hosts. And keep TFNN's Tiger TV tuned in on your mobile device, PC, or Mac for the latest financial news and information throughout the broadcasting day. TFNN, educating investors.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Catch the Money Masters as they teach you the art of mastering money when it comes to trading and investing. Next on TFNN.
Okay, folks, I posted a chart of the NASDAQ over the last 5 days, and as you can see, we've had an expansion up there at 1.618 from the swing that we had from the 28th to the 31st. Then we broke down and stopped, almost at a perfect 38% retracement of the low from way back on the 14th of May. And then we also made a 1.27 expansion off the low of the 26th and a 1.27 expansion off the low of the 28th. You'll see that that's the 30th, and you'll notice that that's what gave us the last pushback. And we have some resistance up here now at this 78% level at the 58.08 level. So watch that number, because if we close above that 50.08, that means we could be moving up even substantially higher, which is not unusual. That's for sure. Now, I've had a request to take a look at something that was really not in my bailiwick, and I wanted to bring it up to you because we did have 2 people ask some questions about it, and I know very little about this, and that is Bitcoin. And so I wanted to bring up the chart here for you to take a look at Bitcoin. And the only thing I want you to realize here, I don't know anything about this electronic currency stuff. I know there's more than 1 or 2 of Bitcoins out there now, but I do want you to see how it trades. And if you'll notice here that we have these ABCD structures that you can see, and these are pretty substantial swings because, it's trading at over $2,000 a share. But you'll notice that you do have these ABC swings that are just really very, very harmonic. In other words, what happened in the past happens in the future. And we went down below the $2,000, per share level. And what was interesting is on this day that we were looking at here on the 26th of June. Let's try it again. 26th of May. It was making a high at the 2570 or whatever it was the high. And we were at lunch with one of my friends from the UK who's in the hedge fund investment banking business in the UK in a big way. And he was talking about Bitcoin, and he had his little cell phone with him, and we took a look at the chart, and my friend said we should sell that, and the guy, he actually looked at it from the sell side, and, of course, it broke 35% in that day. Now, whatever happened after that, I don't know. But the thing that's important here is that it does move in very easy increments to see. The retracements are usually spot on to 618 or 786, and the expansions are usually 1.27 or 1.618. That tells me that there's a lot of people following Bitcoin. And, it's gone from, price of under 3 digits to 4 digits now in a matter of just about 4 years. So This is certainly not a tulip bulb thing, because the tulip bulbs back in the 16th century, in 1632, tulip bulbs got to the price of 6 times the normal income in Holland during that time, and that would be equivalent to normal income now is around 25,000. That means it would get to about 150,000. So 6 times this would take it up to probably around that would be almost 75,000 for a price of Bitcoin. So it's nothing like the tulip bulb. The tulip bulb was a once in a lifetime, certainly more than once in a generation type phenomenon, and they went down to being nearly worthless, a year or so after that. So this is not that type of a big bull move, but it is certainly a big move. There's no question about it. The gentleman that was at the table had bought some Bitcoin about a few years before that, and it was worth a little bit more than 20 times what he had put up. So that's a pretty good return, over, a 2-year period. But that's just, that's what's looking at. I see that someone just told us that Bitcoin is now back to 2450, and that's after China eases exchange controls. And believe me, this stock has to be really illiquid, and I don't understand how you even get the shares, because it's not on a listed exchange, a major listed exchange. How do you get the shares to short it? That's what it's a little scary. I don't recommend anything, anything like this. And and I know it's worth more than gold, but I'll take the gold, Jay. I will too. But this is one of those things that you just don't see it, happening too much. And the other thing to be concerned about is when you see these exchange controls that are coming in, to the Chinese market, you got to be really careful about that. You see, because even though the yuan is trading on an international basis, it's not traded anywhere near the volume that we have with the euro and the pound and the Swiss franc and any of these other ones, and especially the Japanese yen. So that's a major thing, what's going on. We will see how it ends up during sign that Bitcoin is growing in popularity, but we'll have to let history tell us what's going to happen with it. But, another thing that concerns me is that no one will take ownership of Bitcoin as being the developer of it. Why doesn't that pop out? You would think that it would at least make people realize that it would be something, very important. Just like with the Internet. The fellow that built the Internet, he had zip for it. He worked for the government. It was basically a .org type thing, and he got nothing from it. But no one has taken, I'll bet it was Al Gore that did Bitcoin. That's got to be the answer. It's got to be Al Gore. Yes, you're right. It could be Bernard Madoff working out of prison. Maybe he's got it. I don't know. Folks, I'm not on medication. I'm just trying to kill the time till the end of the show because I run out of questions to answer. So keep those questions and things coming in, and we'll be able to see what's going on with these things as we go through. But I don't know anything about Bitcoin. I just bring the chart up because, main thing. I know David White had some really good tutorials several years ago on Bitcoin here at TFNN, and there's another reason why TFNN has such great information. And, you're going back, 4 years in Bitcoin. I imagine you'd made a lot of money if you just put a few shekels together, to buy the Bitcoin, but we'll be able to see. I have a few questions about the grains here. I think we're making bottoms here in the soybean meal and soybean oil markets. Corn and wheat have held up extremely well, but I think we have to wait through this next week. Early next week is when I'm going to be looking to take a look at some of these things. So those are the ones that I'd like to watch, what's going on, with why these markets are, selling off. It's mainly because they're related to the weather change from very wet to dry, and that caused, the growing, the switching over from corn to soybeans. And now that will, but the crop hasn't even, begun to grow. Well, it just started to grow. So there's a long way to go and a lot of swings coming in these things. But it's still down the road. We've got some more backing and filling, I believe, here, especially in soybeans and soybean meal and soybean oil. Watch the soybean meal if we get down to that 295 level. That will be a double bottom and also 1.618.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks. And one of the things that we need to watch closely that we talked about earlier in the show is this U.S. dollar index. It is very close to that 61% retracement on the long-term weekly chart going back to January of last year. That comes in right around the 96.50 level, so it's very close to that 112.70 area in the euro. So we need to watch this, very, very closely. So I think that's probably the key thing to look at. And the other thing to watch is this area in the NASDAQ at the 58.08 level. We're probably going to go above it a little bit, but I don't think we're going to scream above it. But, again, you could certainly be wrong. But the volatility is really dissipating in these stock indices, and that is not a good thing. Remember, when we were making bottoms, we had really great volatility, and we'll see if the tops are going to be made that way or not. But it just means that shorts are covering from my perspective. Whether that's going to be the right thing to do or not, we'll have to wait and see. I will plan to have some of our frequent guests on next week, and we'll be back in Arizona very shortly towards the end of next week, and then no more traveling for quite some time, which will be pleasant, I'm sure, at least from Sarah and I's point of view, but we'll watch it, see how we will be going back to the UK in late fall. We've been invited back, which is going to be a lot of fun to do some live trading. But until that time, we're going to be home quite a while. Okay, now one other question someone's asked me that I'm really not able to answer now, and that is about the corn market. I still think we have a chance for corn to get down about another 8 to 10 cents, where I think it'll be a very good buy. Beans have basically broken out to new lows, but that should be ending very shortly. So live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless. I think that is correct.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock in option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.